I just know.
What?
I just noticed you got like the stash.
Mustache, yeah.
That looks good.
Yeah, it's getting really long.
And it shows up even more in the lighting there.
Impressive on the.
Yeah.
I can't really grow the beard very well. It doesn't grow in thick, but I can grow like the mustache comes in fairly thick. So.
That's the teacher in you.
Yeah. My dad always rocked a mustache.
He did. Does he have one now?
I think he does, or I don't know, because he's also gone goatee at times, so I can't remember what he has right off the top of my head. That's pretty terrible that I can't remember. I mean, I was with him today, and I can't remember. But in my head, he always has a mustache.
Yeah, I don't think I haven't seen your dad for ages anyway, but I don't think I've ever seen him without a mustache. Right. I can't picture him without one.
Yeah, he's always had some kind of something.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so I'm doing a thing. Andrea suggested that I grow a mustache for November, but instead of like growing it throughout the month of November, I'm just going to start with the standalone mustache, like fully formed.
So you're prepping for November.
So yeah, I figured I'll just let it go.
And you're going to do that.
I mean, I'll trim it. I don't know.
I think you should, because like you can see it there.
Yeah.
Like
I have a gap on one side, but I think if it's long enough, it will cover.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you should be good.
Yeah.
Welcome to the other podcast.
Yeah. I could always twirl it up.
That would be awesome. I've been watching Warrior. Have you seen that?
No.
It's like based in San Francisco, and so they've got the old timey. I shouldn't say based in San Francisco, as that gives you a clue to mustaches. But back when the immigrants were coming over, like the Chinese were coming over, and the Irish were all there. So like you got your mayor, and he's got like the crazy mustache. But welcome to the other podcast. This is a show where I myself, Andre, and
I'm Pat.
We get together and we
talk about facial hair.
Yeah, facial hair all the time. Mine's coming in nicely. I don't know. Did I mention last week my little patch here?
No, although you do have a little patch.
Yeah, so but I also have grays.
Yeah,
and the patch comes from, I get ingrowns every now and again, especially when it's first coming in, and I'm very fidgety so I was picking away and I couldn't find tweezers, so I was like, oh, this would be a good idea, and just picked away all of the hair around it, so there's a patch, but it kind of looks like gray hairs if you're looking from a distance. You don't really see, so a little bit of a benefit to having gray hairs. Like Pat said, we just get together and talk, typically once a week. Usually it's been on Thursdays. I think we're moving it to...
I don't know. My wife today was like, why'd you move it to Sundays? I like Thursdays better. So we'll chat.
We're going to be doing this regularly at some point in time. Basically because it makes it easier to plan.
Right, yes.
And we do it live here, so you're welcome to join us live next time, and we'll be better about figuring out when that time is. We were just talking before this. We should invite people to actually join in and check us out.
My family was on for I think 5 minutes last week watching from home, and then they disappeared.
Was that your whole family?
That was, I think, my wife and daughter. One of my daughters.
They didn't say anything. Did they have any feedback?
No. I think they said, "Oh, it sounded really good," and that was about the extent of it. I can't remember what we were talking about at that time, so it may have been just.
Yeah, I mean, the starts are usually like this, so it's kind of hard to like patch in. So before we get started, I'm just gonna go ahead and put it out there: milliondollarfist.com. Check it out. Also check out my other channel, Movement Mentality, which I just put in a lot of work today to put in and like get a bunch of videos uploaded. So if you're looking to get in shape or not get in shape, or
if you want exercises that will not get you in shape, Movement Mentality is for you.
Yeah, it's all about really just kind of getting the whole mind-body connection, building up that coordination or clarity of thought and all that. So, no judgment-free zone, because I can't talk to you through there. You can do whatever you want, follow along or not, entirely up to you. I'm not good at marketing, so there's that. Do you have anything to...
I never have anything to promote.
No, you never know. Is that a Cobra Kai?
It is Cobra Kai, yeah.
So you taking up martial arts at Cobra Kai?
I am not. I found this on sale for $2. So I was like, who doesn't want a $2 Cobra Kai
That's
t-shirt?
a wonderful buy.
Yeah.
Where did you find it?
We were down in Florida and went shopping. I don't know why we went shopping, and I was just checking out the clearance racks because I always do.
Mm-hmm.
Found it and was like, I'm gonna buy that.
Is there a mistake on there at all?
Not that I found. It looks pretty normal.
Established 1764 instead of 19.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. So what are we talking about today?
I don't know. Did you put together any outline? Not that we ever stick to it, but
I think so. I may have. You know what? Let's just fly by the seat of our pants.
All right. Well, did you have anything that was on your mind this week?
Well, I went to the Eagles
Oh yeah.
game.
How was your trip?
It was awesome. It was a lot of fun. Have you traveled by train?
Just like down to Boston, not like a longer trip. But yeah, I think that's a good way to travel.
Yeah. I don't think I'm gonna travel by plane if I have the opportunity to travel by train anymore. It was great. Like so much easier. You don't have to deal with checking in and all that stuff. You just hop on and
It definitely beats driving.
yes, yeah, and it was cheaper. I mean,
Right.
It was funny because when I was first planning the trip down there, I had mentioned to my dad that, hey, I'm gonna just schedule a train, go down. He's like, well, check the plane flights. And thinking to myself, there's no way in hell that like a plane ticket is gonna be less expensive than a train ticket. And I was right.
Yeah.
By like
significant.
Yes, it was I think $200 more for the cheapest plane flight that I could get.
How long did the trip take by train?
With the layover, so I took a bus down to Boston, had a 2-hour layover in Boston. The train went straight down to Philadelphia, and that was a total trip of. I left here at 4:45 and got there at 2 something, so 12 hours about.
Yeah.
It was good. It was I sat in the quiet car. I didn't realize they have separate cars as far as a quiet car. And
was that like non-quiet car, like partying and like
shots going around. I'm married.
Yeah.
But no, they so I was texting my dad when I got on the train, or he texted me, and I'd heard over the speaker that, oh, you're in the quiet car. Treat it like a library, no talking, turn off your cell phones, all this stuff. And I didn't see the signs that like indicated it was a quiet car. And I was saying that to my dad. I was like, because he was like, why are you in the quiet car? Because he had asked about me calling him. So I told him I was in the quiet car. So why are you in the quiet car? I didn't know it was a quiet car. And I'd gotten up to go to the bathroom, and there were signs like all above. So look up when you go on a train. That will tell you where you're at. My lesson learned. But yeah, it was a good trip. I brought my laptop down. I did some work that I wanted to work on. Kind of planned it out that way. Decided I'm going to be traveling. I was bringing my laptop, do a little bit of work, and then sleep for the most of the time, which was huge because on my trip down there, like I said, I left at 4:45 in the morning.
Right.
And so the night before then, for whatever reason, I decided to stay up a little bit later than I usually do. So I got about 3 hours of sleep, and then went to the gym before I went to catch the bus at like 3 a.m. because I was like, oh, I'll wake myself up a little bit. And that backfired. I was just beat.
So did you go down on Monday or on Sunday?
I went down on Saturday.
Saturday, okay. And it stayed. Was it what night was the game?
Monday night.
Monday night, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I stayed. Got to go down to Chester, Pennsylvania. Beautiful area. It's always good for me to go down there and see a different world. I appreciate Maine so much in a much different light every time. It's a reminder, like, okay, it's not so bad. We're driving from the train station, and there's a billboard up there and big picture of a guy. This wasn't in Chester. This was in Philadelphia. So, I mean, just as good.
Yeah.
But big bulletin board of a guy's face up there, wanted for murder.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I got to hear about 2 murders that were related to one, my dad's coworker. He described the murder that happened there recently. Another one was we were driving through my uncle's neighborhood, and it's like this nice house. Nice, it looks nice. Like I was very impressed actually. We were riding in there and thinking, oh, this is actually a pretty nice space. Like it looks really nice. I could imagine living here, nice little neighborhood. To have a police station like in there.
Yep.
And he lives right around the police station. And my dad even pointed that out. I was talking to him about it. We were in the car and says, oh, so it must be pretty safe. You got the police station right here. He's like, oh, there was a murder just a little bit ago. Some guy like climbed in this other dude's window and just killed him and then went running out. You can see him on my door or whatever.
Yeah.
Like you see him running across. It's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. So Westbrook's not so bad.
No, Westbrook's great.
Yeah. Yep. And the game was fun experience.
Yeah, it was awesome. We had great seats.
Yeah, I was gonna say it looked like you had some awesome seats.
Yeah, and they were right on the edge.
Yeah.
So we had seats 1, 2, 3, 4 where we're sitting, which was great view of everything. I have a horrible bladder, so it was great. I could go to the bathroom without disturbing too many people and get beer. They have big beers there. Like I did not expect the size. I feel like they were bigger than 16-ounce beers.
Yeah.
Because
how much do they charge you for them?
It's $13.
Oh,
yeah. So I was going up there to buy. I bought a couple beers because I was expecting like 12 ounces for whatever reason.
You got these giant beers.
Yeah, I came with these giant cannons of beers,
which probably helped with having to go to the bathroom.
Yes.
Constantly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a good game. The Eagles won. I got to experience hecklers, not towards me, but we had a couple Minnesota fans sitting in the area, and this guy behind us was going to town. I can't repeat any of his jokes. They were great though, but it was fun. It was, and then like beforehand, there's like a giant party there. Like, well, there's the tailgating and stuff.
Yeah,
but which was we saw it. We walked through it all, and that was cool. But I thought we were like going into the stadium at first, but we're going into like this just pre-party area. There's a band playing.
Yeah. So it's something the team kind of puts together for their fans, sort of thing.
I don't know. It's I mean, it was like this ring of bars and stuff all around. Cool. So that whole it must be like their food complex or bar complex 4.
Yep.
Because they have all the stadiums there, right? You know.
They're all
all in one spot. Section. So we go in there, and it's just like it's like a giant college party, basically.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. My dad, though, because he'd never been either, and he walks in there, he's just like, "I'm never coming here again." It's just that was not his scene.
A little overwhelmed by everything. Yeah.
Yeah, we got in there, sat down. There's a radio station on stage doing like their pregame show type thing, which was kind of interesting for me to see. It's just like that's kind of cool, but kind of weird at the same time. Just like 5 older dudes sitting on the stage. Nobody's can hear them really, or listen to them, but it's cool to see them work. And you know, we're in the same field, so
hey, I'm in the media, guys. You didn't get to go down like press pass or anything like that. Like, come on, the other podcast.
Maybe you haven't heard of me, but I got to see people riding a bull. Not a real bull, like the mechanical bull.
Yeah,
that was a little bit of fun. But yeah, it was a good time all around.
Good. And you came back on Tuesday?
Tuesday, yeah.
Very cool.
Train back, and apparently did not tell my work that I was not going to be there on Tuesday. I thought I put in time off, but so I was getting kind of messages on the way like, "Are you working today?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh no, I'm not in the office."
Yeah, that's cool.
How about you?
I did nothing exciting this week. Just lived my normal life, going to work, driving the kids around to sports practices, and that's about it.
What are they doing now?
For like the kids,
Yeah.
They have dance on, let's see, Monday night's dance for both of them. Tuesday, Rowan has soccer practice. Wednesday, they both have dance again. Thursday, soccer. Friday, Rowan does rock climbing. Maddie does soccer every day during the week, like, right after school, because she's joined the school soccer team, which is interesting because she hasn't played soccer. I feel like she's an 8th grader. It's sort of like your last chance to like try a sport. And it's funny because so she comes home one day, she's like, "Oh, I'm going to play soccer." We're like, oh, okay. And then the next day she comes home, she's like, "Yeah, I wasn't very good." And we're like, "Did you think you were going to be good? Like you haven't played except for like maybe 1 or 2 years when you were much younger. Like, this is very, very different." But she's enjoying herself. She's sticking with it. So I think being part of a team is something that she enjoys and stuff. So yeah, so she's doing that. So it's just like every single night we've got something, but it's just the age and goes along with the territory. We're happy to have them doing stuff. So
yeah, and where you live, it's not like close to any of the things that they're doing where they can like walk or
no. Oh, Maddie can walk home from practice, although it's getting a little bit colder or whatever, and so she's been asking us to pick her up. But yeah, no, they can't. Yeah, so it's chauffeuring them around and stuff. So we kind of, Andrew and I have our schedules of who does what and when and everything. So
yeah, that's tough. I remember carting the kids around to whatever they were doing. It's just kind of like,
and their age is just far enough apart that like they generally don't take the same dance classes. They don't, so it's.
So are they? What type of dance are they doing? Just like
everything. So Maddie does contemporary, ballet, jazz, and they do something called troupe, which is a performance class. So she's doing 4 classes. Rowan does 2. The only one they have together is contemporary. And so like on Wednesday night, it'll be like drive Rowan over. Then you have to come back, get Maddie, take her over, pick up. It's like literally doing shuttle runs through Westbrook, like by your house every day. Wow. So it's fine. It's just busy.
So troupe is kind of like, are you setting them up to be like in Cirque du Soleil? Isn't that?
It's just their performance group. They go and do shows at different places, but it's cool because it's pretty laid back. And it's actually this. So we do it through Westbrook, through Brio Dance Studio, which is through the Westbrook Community Center. And it's been really cool because I know some of the dance companies can be like really intense, and it's like competitions, and you have you have to buy certain outfits and really dress the girls up and tons of makeup, and it's kind of cutthroat and stuff. But these are more just exhibitions, and it's pretty laid back. And so we've really enjoyed doing that. And I think, the Westbrook Community Center has kind of been a great thing for the community of Westbrook. And so, it's kind of cool that we can do it through there, and
nice.
It works. So, yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So just basically been doing that. I've got 1 week left for training for my big race next weekend. So I've been doing a lot of running. And
how's that been going on the body?
It was great. So I'm running a half marathon. My goal was to get up. I've run a half marathon before. And I know a lot of the training programs don't have you like actually go up to what you're going to run, but mentally I like to run, if I'm running a half marathon, I want to run 13 miles at some point just to be like, then I know I can do it.
Right.
So I did that a few weeks ago, but I think I may have overdone it. So now like my knee at like 9 miles has been totally locking up on me, and I'm like, oh, that's not good. So I did 10 this weekend, getting ready for the race, cutting back a little bit. So hopefully I don't care about my time. So that's one thing about not being like a serious runner. Right. Is I can just be like, whatever I get, I get. And
I was going to ask if you were like tape down your mustache for the.
Well, I thought about actually, shaving it and just going to the standalone for that.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
I want to see if you do that. Yeah. I'll see you anyway.
So that's next Sunday. So that's, and then I don't know what I'm going to do after that.
Where's that race again?
It starts. Well, so I'm not 100% sure how it's going to work this year. It usually starts by the Back Bay where the Hannaford is. Mm-hmm. And then you run around Baxter Boulevard or halfway around it to start. And then it goes way out to like Falmouth, down Route 1, I think Route 1. No, is it Route 1? I think Route 1, and down into Falmouth and stuff. but I know they've been doing all that work down there, so I don't know how the course is gonna work out.
Miranda Street is and all that, or
there and also right around the boulevard. And I don't know what that looks like these days.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna go wherever they tell me to run and
follow the paths that are laid out.
Yeah,
it's usually the safest route.
Yeah.
I had a, I don't know, 5-10 minute moment of maybe I'll start running again, earlier this week. I don't know why, but it
doesn't really interest you running.
It does, but it doesn't. It's one of those things like I like the idea of it, but maybe I just need good shoes, or like I like trail running actually.
Yeah.
Trail running is like I prefer that. It's the concrete, like the hitting the pavement, just kind of hurts my knees.
Yeah, it's definitely rough on the body. But
I feel like if I can avoid that kind of damage, impact, or whatever, I may as well. Same thing with jiu-jitsu. I was talking just today. One of my friends, she rolls, and it's not funny, but they got into throws a few weeks ago, and her son actually threw her, and she busted her ankle up.
Yep.
And so she's laid up, got pins and all that stuff in there. And around a little bit before then, I rolled a few weeks before that, and I at some point hurt my groin. Had nothing to do with that, but it put me in that perspective. Like, do I really want to put myself in that position?
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather just be safe with what I'm doing. That way I can do everything else I want to do.
Yeah.
So,
But
at the same time, I kind of miss that.
Like, that's what I was thinking about too, with like some of the distances. So I definitely prefer, like, my mindset's always been, if I'm going to run, I want to go run for for a longer distance. Like I have no interest in doing like a 5K or something like that for a race or something. Like, it's like, why would I sign up to run a 5K that's going to be over in, under 30 minutes? It's
10 minutes for you.
Yeah. Like, that's what I was going to say. I'm like, 20 minutes. I'm like, I'm probably not running a 20-minute 5K. So, but what I mean? Like, I like, I'm definitely not fast. So I like to go for longer runs, but then, like I said, 9 miles, my knees are, I'm feeling it, my knees, my hips and stuff. So at some point I think I need to start cutting back and going just for shorter runs. But I'm looking at starting to look at winter running. I've never tried winter running, but I'm going to make some screw sneakers, screws the screws in the bottom of my sneakers so I can run on, get some traction. And
you can do homemade.
Winter
gear. Wow.
Well, not everything. I will buy like the tights and the base layer. I'm not going to knit myself
okay, crochet. So I can see it.
That'd be awesome to have a totally crochet running outfit. That would be
great. Have you seen my? That's not in here now. She knitted me like this crochet
shirt.
I mean, it's like a sweater.
Yeah,
it's like a robe basically.
That's cool.
And I can't remember. It was just a bunch of extra yarn or something like that, and I said I wanted a shirt or something. So she knitted me that. It's the most comfortable thing in the wintertime. I just started wearing it the other night, and it's not up here though. But it's like wearing it's like if you had an Afghan, and was trying to get all comfy with it, sleeves on it and everything, just hangs on, and I take a belt. And
that's great. Nice and comfortable. My favorite thing now are cardigan sweaters. Like, I just love a nice cardigan sweater in the wintertime. Like, I don't care if it looks like something an old man would wear. Like, it's totally comfortable and warm.
It is a useful piece of clothing.
Well, if she can knit me a tank top that I can, or maybe more like a sleeveless shirt. I still haven't gone the full tank top look, and I'm not sure I can pull that off.
What colors do you like?
Oh, any color, doesn't matter. I'll try running in it. I don't know, the chafing with a knitted shirt, that could be. I do the nipple band-aids because
I don't think you'd get chafing with soft cotton yarn.
Yeah, nice. She'll have to choose a yarn that's very soft and gentle on the skin.
And I did cross country in high school, and that nipple chafing is no joke.
Oh yeah, it's the worst.
I don't know why nobody warned me or I didn't listen, one or the other. But
Yeah.
it's like, oh, this is fine. Oh, no.
Well, it's a shower afterwards. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, I feel totally fine. You get in the shower and you're like, oh, my nipples.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a couple Band-Aids takes care of the issue.
Yeah, it's an easy remedy.
Yeah. But, you know, the girls love it when I get home and I take off my shirt and I totally forget I had them on and walking around and it's like,
You look like a stripper.
yeah. Yeah. It's just, I should get the ones with little tassels.
That would be so I wonder if that would get like tangled up in the crochet top.
Yeah.
Oh, you could have them coming out.
Coming out, yeah. Or she can make me a crochet top that just has space for my nipples. I'll never have to worry about it. It'll be perfect.
It could start a whole new trend. The crochet nipple, open nipple.
That'll be your next business that you start. You start going to all the craft fairs and selling.
I'd sit at the table and sell that. You want to come model for me?
Yeah. Yeah.
What else? Man, this is what happens when we fly out of the seat of our pants here.
Yeah. Anything else on your mind? What have I been thinking about? Okay. Couple of things. So one thing that I've been thinking about this week is we talked about. I was thinking about my theory of that people are time traveling and they can't tell us about, like, warn us of the future, and so they have to do it through art and media and movies and things like that. And so I came back to that this week because we watched what is it, Meet Cute? Have you ever heard of it? It's a movie.
I've seen that
with Pete Davidson
thing,
and what's her name, Kaylee Cuoco or whatever. So it's not really it is a time traveling movie. She goes back. The premise is she goes back every 24 hours to like redo a day over. So it's kind of like Groundhog Day with time travel, but she's trying to alter this date that she has, this first date, to make it work better. So anyway, movie was fine. Entertained me for an hour and a half or whatever. It was okay. But so anyways, it was reminding me of the thing we talked about. So I was thinking about how all portrayals of the future are almost always negative. Can you think of any portrayal of the future that's actually like a positive portrayal of the future?
Well, I guess Back to the Future 2, I don't see it.
Would probably, and that's one of the few that I could think of that I would say was relatively positive, aside from the whole Biff being like.
But I mean,
other than that, yes, it was positive.
That's only because you know who Biff is,
right?
Like,
I mean, it makes sense that I'll be negative, I guess, from like a storytelling standpoint. You need to have some kind of conflict or problem, and so if you had this wonderful society where everything was great, you don't really have.
Well, that could be the problem. Like everybody wants to bring whoever went forward home, and they're like, no, why would I go back to that when this is better?
Right, you could do that.
But I mean, what's the consequence for them not going back home? Except that maybe it could affect the future. They wouldn't have the great future if they hung out in the future.
They couldn't have the great future.
So if they're not there to create the better future,
if they're the person that needs to create it,
right?
So they have to go back to. But yes, okay.
I mean, it gets kind of confusing because, all right, when does that happen?
Right. And how did it get created? The good future get created in the first place if they never went back?
Right. And maybe that's part of the mystery. They're trying to figure out, all right, but
how did this,
if that's the truth,
okay.
That's his argument. Like, well, I'm here, I'm enjoying it. I clearly don't have to go back because it already exists.
Yeah. So I just thought of this last night. So I haven't had any time to like really put too much thought into it, but that's what I was thinking about while we were watching this movie. It's like, I did think of Back to the Future too, but other than that, and there could be a lot that I'm not thinking, like I haven't seen, but.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I'm trying to think of a lot of time travel movies that go into the future.
Yeah. Maybe some kids ones, like I haven't seen Tomorrowland or anything like that. Maybe those are more positive.
Do they go into the future in Tomorrowland?
That's about Tomorrowland. Isn't that like Tomorrowland? Wouldn't that be the future?
I suppose.
I don't know. Like I said, I haven't seen it.
I saw it, but I don't really remember it. I just remember George Clooney's in it.
So anyway, I want to be on the lookout for movies where the future is portrayed in a positive way.
I think this is how we interact with their audience. Hey, if you have any movies where they interact in the future and it's positive, leave a comment.
Right. So that's one thing that's been on my mind. Because otherwise it's just all very dire predictions of our future, which, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, you think about what you hear now anyway, that why wouldn't it be? I mean,
well, yes, no.
The world's going to end in 12 years or something like that. Right. So which is always, I feel like 12 years is always the number for the past 20 years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
But I feel, do you think they need to put a timeline on it?
Right, no.
I mean, the timeline thing isn't working.
And then you just look stupid. If you just make a prediction of how the world's going to end, nobody can say you're wrong because you go, it just hasn't happened yet. But as soon as you lock yourself into that date, then you just look like an idiot.
Yeah. That's what I see. There is we talked about it a little bit. The John Benjamin Has a Van or something like that. Which when we were talking about David Cross, he was on some John Benjamin show, but there's a thing in there where this guy's talking about that he's basically in this cult or leading this cult and says he's being interviewed. It's like, well, what about the last time you said?
Yeah.
Well, and the time after that.
The other thing we were thinking about recently was this is a family-friendly show, so I'm going to say this in a family-friendly way. Music, what would be the worst music to set the mood for romantic time?
WAP.
Yeah. Well, so this came about because somehow we were talking about Rammstein. And I think I was saying something about how there was a bar in Quebec that we went to one time, and they were playing like all Rammstein.
Yeah, that was the one with like Pig's Head.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it was called the Pig's Head.
Yeah, right. So I was and Andrew was like, I think we happened to be in bed at the time having this conversation, and so I had Alexa play some Rammstein, and we were like, "Du hast," and so we're like, "Yeah, this really wouldn't work for us. This does not set the mood for romance." Although I do think there are some couples that would probably really like that kind of music. So then that turned into what were we listening to after that, like Rob Zombie or something. But then we were like, okay, so what could be the worst possible songs for? So like, I don't know,
Three Little Pigs by Green Jelly.
That'd be pretty bad. I was thinking like Lightning Crashes.
No, okay.
That would be pretty.
Yeah,
doesn't really get you in the mood for.
See, that depends. Like if you're listening to this, those are one of those songs that like it sounds good, but when you listen to the lyrics, you're like, "Ooh, I don't."
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Yeah, like I don't know, and I guess any song that's sort of because you have like the songs where like the beat or the musically just don't really work, and then you have the songs where the context of the song or what the song's about is just really not a good mesh for.
Well, it's like Green Day's When September Comes, like that's about his dad dying,
right?
So that's probably not one, but it's a beautiful song,
right? And then there's Eric Clapton, Tears in Heaven would be a pretty bad choice.
Yeah. Another one where I feel like a lot of people don't know what that song means.
Yeah, right.
People our age might, but skip ahead a few years. Who's Eric Clapton? You just hear this pretty song. Let's dance to it at a wedding.
Right. Yeah, that's true. What else did we say last night? Midnight Oil. How can you sleep while the beds are burning? Like, how can you? Yeah. And then there's things like Barbie Girl. I think would be pretty. That probably wouldn't get me in the mood.
Yeah. So, and I think there's also a difference because that's when you get into like the style of music or whatever. But like in that moment when you're like, I think there are certainly songs like if you're on the dance floor or something that'll get you started, get the motor rubbing. So like Du Hast might be one. It's a high energy song and stuff, and you're kind of in that high energy attraction mode. And this is also dependent on who it is. Is it a total stranger? Is it somebody that you're on a date with, somebody you're married to, whatever. But so that might change things a little bit too. But then, you got to tone it down a little bit as you get closer and closer to whatever moment that might be for you and your loved one.
Yeah. So yeah, those are the things that I've been thinking about intensely this weekend.
You should make a playlist, Spotify playlist
of all the worst possible.
You know what? We don't. I used to love making CDs and mixtapes.
Oh yeah.
And Spotify makes it so easy now to just make those. We got to start putting out.
When I don't even make playlists now, like I just put on, whatever the radio station, let the algorithm tell me what I should be listening to, and do it that way. But yeah, like there was an art to making a good like mixed tape or mixed CD or something.
I remember making one for an ex-girlfriend. I made a CD. I can't remember why it was themed with birds, but it was like all like bird song stuff, and I was pretty proud of myself. I had like 3 little birds and a bunch of other bird related songs on it. I can't remember. Fly Away by what's your face? I don't know why singing it's gonna help me. Natalie Imbruglia.
Oh right.
Yeah, that was a good one. But yeah, it was like, I don't know, I found like 13 or so bird songs. And
did we do a fire songs that I did with fire once for something? Like there was going to be a burn. I think like the fire department or something was coming to burn something in college and like down by the river or something like that. And so we made like a big playlist of fire songs, like, Fired Up, Busta Rhymes, and things like that we could sit on the porch and wait for them to set the thing on fire and just listen to.
I don't specifically remember that, but I do remember when Hancock Hall caught on fire and Ben Whitney sat on the front steps playing, I don't remember what song it was that had to do with fire, but that was fun.
Yeah.
Not for everybody in Hancock Hall.
Yeah.
Nobody was hurt.
Yes.
Yeah,
that was an interesting night.
And then played some drinking game. You were over there. It was when we were over at Vinny's house. And Jill was there, and it was some drinking game where you had to make a rule. And we made the rule, or I made the rule, that Jill had to drink every time "lady" was said. And I had made a CD with a bunch of songs with "lady" in it. So I put that on. It's like, yeah, drink every time. That was fun.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah.
But yeah, we should make some playlists for, like, so you make a playlist, I'll make a playlist for you on Spotify.
Okay.
You don't have to make a playlist for me, Pat. But, I wanted to.
I will make you a playlist, and I think that you and Candy, the next time you're feeling very romantic, have to put it on and listen to it.
Sure. Challenge accepted. Yeah, what else is going on? There's Dominic had his birthday this past Sunday, and he got a sweet Lego set. It's like a Nintendo, the Nintendo Entertainment System Lego set. So it's a Nintendo, a cartridge that you put together.
Is it like the original Nintendo?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And so it's all functional in the sense of you flip open the console, you stick it in, it slides down.
Do you have to blow in the thing before you put it in?
You should.
Yeah.
You should, for sure, if you want it to work right. I wouldn't recommend doing the trick of putting it just on the edge and kind of slamming it down, because that might break some Lego pieces. But it's got that, and then it's really cool on the side. It's got another hidden section, and it's got like little pieces that make up the first, I don't know, scene from like the first level or something. Yep. But it's also a TV. You like build a TV, and it's got a screen on it with like the Lego, like the Mario characters
Yep.
and all that stuff, and you spin something on the side, and the TV scrolls.
Yep.
So
That's
it's
awesome.
wicked cool. He said it's his favorite Lego set.
Yeah, that sounds really cool.
Tons of pieces.
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounds like a pretty massive.
Yeah, I can't remember what the count was on it, but like an 18 plus Lego set,
Yeah.
which is. I was like, oh, 18 plus, buddy, you can't have this one. Because I'm a funny dad. I'm a funny dad, and I make those kinds of jokes.
Yeah, you have to let me do it. You can watch me.
Oh, hell no. He got frustrated.
Did he?
Yeah.
I was going to say, how long did it take him to put that thing together?
He got the console part down, but there was like one piece in there that like the mechanism for it to go down wasn't working right.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't sure if he had put something together wrong.
Yeah.
He's like, I gotta take it all apart. And so I know. Again, he wasn't sure if he lost a piece. Yeah. And it's just like, you want me to help you look for? He's like, no, I just gotta step away from it for a little bit.
Take a break. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. Do you have Legos?
I don't. I enjoy Legos, and I would love to get sets and put them together and stuff, but they're so expensive that I just can't justify sinking the money into them. Because again, it's like so you put it together, and I don't have room to like put them on display or anything. So it's like, what am I gonna do?
Yeah. So what I was doing for a little while, because I run into that same thing, like I'd love to get like the big sets and put them together.
Yeah.
And it's cool with the boys. I've gotten them sets here and there, and I'll help them with it. Not that they need my help, and really that help turns into, at this point, like I'll set up pieces for them, and it kind of turns into this assembly line. I'll look at the
I do the same. Yeah.
But I was going down to Walmart and just getting those little bag sets and stuff, and I bring them to work, and I'd be bored at work, put them together, and then I'd have like because they always come with like 2 or 3 extra pieces, so I'd have all those, and I'd start like making these weird shapes with those and stuff as I built up. But
it is interesting how like kids don't really do a lot of freeform playing with Legos anymore. Like I felt like as a kid, that's all I did was just, I never had sets of things. I just had like a giant tub and would just build them. But even like kids at school and stuff, they're much more into like having sets and stuff like that. So it's kind of interesting. But I always enjoyed, so the girls haven't really gotten into Legos either, but they've had a few things that are like, I can't remember what it was. Maddie had a giant tree fort thing, and I think they may have been Legos or something, or actually it may have been some kind of Connects kind of thing. But yeah, that was like those are my favorite toys to play with the kids, because it'd be like, I'd sit there and build it, and they'd lose interest, and I'd be like putting it together, or I do the same thing that you do, where I would get the pieces out and all like all the steps and be like, okay, now do the next piece. Yeah. And again, it was usually with Rowan, her attention span's not very good, so she'd be bored halfway through it and be like, yeah, all right, I'll take over it.
Connects. So you mentioned Connects. Those are the ones with like the little square pieces. You snap them in. I used to love those, and it's the only set I ever really remember having was a Connect set, and it was this like black spaceship with an alien in it, and had like purple and neon green clear highlighted pieces. That it was like had three different like passenger seats and stuff. It was the coolest thing when I was a kid. But that's the only set I ever remember having. I don't remember having any like actual Lego sets. And I had a Rector set. Like, do you remember that?
Yeah. Just make like metal pieces that made like different things. Yep.
That one was pretty cool, except I didn't like the fact that it had to have a wrench and all that stuff. So.
I mostly had like hand-me-down Lincoln Logs that didn't have enough pieces to build like the actual thing, or hand-me-down where they I can't like some kind of wooden version of those like of stuff, Tinker Toys, I think is what they're called.
They were the little round things.
Yeah, and you put the so like I had those, but I could never get like the new set. My parents didn't buy a lot of that kind of stuff. I even like my He-Man stuff, it would be like He-Man, and then I didn't have like the what's the name of his
Cringer?
Cringer Battle Cat. So I had like somehow my parents instead, I wanted a Battle Cat, and they got me a rhinoceros that had a saddle on it. So He-Man rode a rhinoceros with a saddle. So like I never had like a ton of toys within one. G.I. Joe I had a few of, but like they would never get like the big, you know,
the castle,
the castles or the big, like none of that stuff. So
I had a pretty extensive He-Man collection actually.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, because I don't remember getting a lot of stuff as a kid. I mean, I must have.
Yeah.
Because I had Castle Grayskull, I had Snake Mountain, I had like this slime pit thing.
Yep.
I had the battle car.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I had I had like two other vehicles. I had like this ripcord.
Yep.
The speedster
thing. I know what
thing.
that one is.
And there was another vehicle I had, and then I had like He-Man, Skeletor, Ram Man, Skunk Man, Moss Man.
Yeah.
I think I had Beast Man. And I all my He-Man toys, all the figurines had my mom painted nail polish.
So you know they were yours?
Yeah, because I'd bring them over to my friend's house, and he had a habit of like chewing on stuff all the time. So she was like, "All right, these are the ones that are yours. Right. Like, don't lose those." Yeah. But so you had G.I. Joes too?
I had G.I. Joes. I had some He-Man stuff, and I had my favorite were Mask. Mask were the best toys. I love that.
Mask was awesome.
Really
those are toys that I didn't have.
Yeah.
Like, which ones did you have?
I had a few of them. I had my favorite was the motorcycle that turned into the helicopter.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty sweet. And then, I mean, that was a small one too, but I just thought the whole concept was like pretty badass. I can't remember which other ones I had. I definitely had like 4 or 5 different Mask things, but I think those were my favorite. And then probably G.I. Joe, and then He-Man was pretty awesome.
Did you ever take apart the G.I. Joes?
Like, and
like mix and match.
Yeah.
I had a whole toolbox of just G.I. Joe parts that I like took them all apart, and I just make the new ones and stuff. They're so fun. Like, my boys never did anything like that with their toys.
No,
but I don't think they had many toys that you could do that with.
Yeah, right.
Actually,
the G.I. Joe. So that was I told this story to my kids a bunch of times, but like I think I've stolen things in my life 2 times. And one of the things was a G.I. Joe, and I stole it from my church.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. It was, so we did go down and do Sunday school down in like the rooms, and it was also like a preschool down there. And so one of the Sunday school preschool rooms had G.I. Joe, and there's one of the figures there that I didn't have. And I was like, oh, I don't really want that one. And so I stole it. And I had it probably for a month. And I felt so guilty the whole time, like, this is bad. I stole it. I shouldn't steal. I stole it from my church. Like, that's really. So I ended up returning it back one day. So that was one of 2 times I stole something in my life.
That's good of you to bring it back.
Yeah, I used it for good, the experience, because I always tell my kids, like, you shouldn't take something like, this is my story. I felt really guilty, and I could enjoy playing with it.
But there was no consequence.
Well, aside from the way that I felt, I think we're past probably the.
Well, I mean, that story, like, yeah, you felt guilty, but really, what was the consequence, Pat? I mean, had you not returned it?
But you shouldn't. But what I would tell my kids is that the reason you don't steal shouldn't be about consequences. Okay. It should be about knowing that it's right from wrong, and
so just being better than others.
Not better than others, doing the right thing.
Okay, as compared to
going around.
But what's the wrong thing there?
Stealing.
Like, but why?
Because there was probably some kid who couldn't play with that toy, or it belonged to the church, and I probably shouldn't steal things from a church, even if nobody was going to miss it. I probably still shouldn't be taking things from a church. So you're on the side of that. It was totally fine to steal that from the church.
No, I church aside, I don't think you should steal things.
Well, okay, then there you go.
I got caught shoplifting a long time ago from leech mirrors because I was really cool. And we used to steal from there all the time, like tapes, and we just slide the tape up our sleeves. Mm-hmm. And it's back when we wore the flannel shirts and they were in style, and we just walk out, no problem. And so we take them out. We'd like work to take them out of the packaging so the alarms wouldn't go off. And then one day, because really it was just about the thrill. It wasn't about actually getting anything. And so one day I decided to try something new and stick it in my sock.
And went wrong, huh?
Yeah, they caught me. They saw me on camera, and as we were walking out, the security guard there came out and stopped me and the other person I was with, and it's like, what do you got? And the other person had stolen too.
Yeah.
And he had it in his palm.
Who must have been pissed at you for ruining it.
Well, no, he got away. Oh. He's like, I don't have anything. He's literally sitting like that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have anything. He's like, okay, go. And then he knew that I had it. So
how old were you when that happened?
I think it was our freshman year.
I was going to say, I feel like I remember that.
Yeah. It was our freshman year in high school. And yeah, so, but during that whole thing, I was stupidly defiant about it. It was kind of like, I don't see the big deal in stealing all this stuff. And I had to write a letter to Leechmere apologizing for stealing.
Yeah.
Like my mom's like, you have to write this letter, blah, blah, blah. And so I wrote it, and I'm just telling her, like, oh, this is stupid. I don't even agree with anything I'm actually. You seriously don't think there's anything wrong? And she's trying to explain to me the downward effect of stealing from corporations.
That must have been very fun for her.
Yeah. I hope to God my kids don't get into that type of, like, I'm pretty sure I'm safe.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you're probably good.
I think she thought she was safe too, so who knows?
Yeah. The other thing all my stealing experiences, all two of them were really embarrassing. So there was that I stole from my church. And then the other one was a friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours. I think we must have been in middle school, but we were stealing tapes from like the music store at the mall. And I'm pretty sure, I only did it one time, and I'm pretty sure it was the cassette single of Meatloaf. What was that like?
I know. I can
it's so bad. Yeah. Not even like the really good Meatloaf song.
No, I'm singing Total Eclipse of the Heart. That's not it.
That would have been a better choice.
Yeah.
No, it was. Oh my goodness! I can't believe I can't think of this.
The Beauty and the Beast video.
There was a Beauty and the Beast video.
Yeah, it was her. It was him, and
yes, I think you're right. Actually, Meatloaf songs.
I would do anything for love.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
It was a popular song. That was a good album overall.
I wonder what year that came out.
My uncle had that CD, and I was like flipping through his CDs one day. I saw that. I was like, you have Meatloaf? Yeah. Obviously, he had Meatloaf because Meatloaf was around a lot longer than.
So that was 1993. So I was probably in 8th grade when I did that. Yeah,
nice.
Super awesome.
Do you still have it?
No,
I
don't have that. But yes, I'm like, why couldn't have the one time I stole something have been much cooler than Meatloaf?
You know, I feel like I said, when I was stealing stuff, it was just for the fun of it.
Right. And I think that's totally what it was for us too. It was like experimenting, just be like, I can say I did it, or like, or could I get away with it, kind of thing. Although I would have felt like a big jackass if I'd gotten in trouble for stealing that. I have to say though, we were good kids, good grades, and all that stuff. Yeah. So it's interesting. I feel like that's kind of there's limits to be tested at a certain point. Because you see, for me, like I was friends with other people too. Mm. And I'd see them doing these things. We're like, you guys look like you're having a good time and are getting away with stuff. What can I do type thing? But remember, there was that string of robberies and stuff that was going on. But so our stuff wasn't so bad. No. I mean, there were kids breaking into people's houses. That was a huge story. Yeah, it was. Yeah. I was just thinking about that recently. I can't remember how it even came. Oh, because right now there's again people breaking into cars and stuff. Yeah. And so that was a crazy story. Yeah. So I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if it was just a
bunch of high school kids
Yeah.
doing this.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like you said, in general, we were not getting in trouble in high school. We were doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Our parents were fairly lucky. Yeah, I think the only time I ever got in trouble in high school was when that night that we went to a party and then my parents took me out to breakfast the next day and you got grounded. So,
where were you last night, Jeremy's? I'm trying to again. Where were you last night?
Yeah,
Jeremy's. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was not good.
And actually, that's probably that and the shoplifting thing were probably
The only times you really got in trouble too. Yeah, we weren't bad.
But even then, like with that party situation, I mean, I got grounded for a little bit, but could have been worse. And then,
yeah, absolutely. And we were fairly responsible about it. We went to a party. There may have been some underage things going on, but like, we weren't driving around. We weren't doing anything too bad.
Yeah. I remember my mom cooked me like a breakfast with, bacon and eggs and toast and stuff. And she was like, here's some more toast. It'll help you soak up the grease. It's like knowing full well that I was a bit hungover at that point.
I did blame it all on you.
Of course you did. That's fine.
It's like, Andre, I tried to stop him and he just got way out of control. And then he was getting sick and we couldn't go anywhere. So, yeah. And then I had Ghirardelli chocolate pancakes.
Oh, that's nice.
Pretty delicious.
That's very nice.
I mean, and I know it was my parents that got us in trouble, but the only reason they did that was because they were hoping to take us out to breakfast. They wanted to take you and I out to breakfast, so they're trying to find us. Yeah, it wasn't like it was just.
Maybe that was a cover story. Like, it's just like.
Maybe. Nowadays, it's a little easier, like, because I can track.
Yeah.
And I've made it very clear to my kids, like, or to Maddie, she's the only one that has a phone, but I'm like, I do track you.
Mm-hmm.
I will track you. This week, she had shut off, like, the find your phone thing. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, why is that off? And so she had to put it back on. And so, I have no issues spying on my child.
I don't have, we have that same stuff going on.
Yeah.
And Candy seemed to think like I'm anti-tracking stuff. I'm not anti-tracking stuff. I don't think there's a need for it.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's used as too much of a crutch.
Yeah.
Like for some people, my kids I'm not really worried about.
Yeah.
But like, I think there are some parents who use it as just like, well, everything's going to be safe because I have it.
Oh yeah. Right.
So it's like, all right, cool.
Well, and it's not like it's foolproof. I mean, certainly you can put your phone here and go off and do,
right,
yeah.
So there are ways around it if they really want to get around it. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing with the internet and all that stuff. For the longest time, parents putting blockers on and all that stuff. It's like, if the kid wants to get something, those blockers are not going to stop them from getting what they want.
Yeah. The one we mentioned last time, we're at the point where as somebody who thinks they're fairly okay with technology, we're at the point where my daughter's knowledge is exceeding mine. It's, like, she's going to figure out ways to do things that I won't even see coming. And so it's like, it's more about teaching her how to be safe, how to be responsible versus being able to spy on her. But saying that I do spy on her, and so that's one of the things we're dealing with now is she's always been fairly shy. She's kind of like me. And so our concern with her was always socially, like, I hope she has a lot of friends and stuff. And because she always had a little trouble, putting herself out there. This year, now she's starting to make some new friends who are part of the popular group. Her words, not mine, but like, so, and she's not somebody who's like obsessed with being popular. She was just saying like, they're like kind of in a different group of people from who I've always hung out with. And so, but it's interesting because now it's like every day after school, I'm going to go to so-and-so's house. I'm like, I don't even know who that person is. And then she went to a friend's house after school the other day, and Andrea just happened to go pick her up, and all these boys came out of the house at the same time. We're like, wait, what's going on? Like, you didn't tell us there were going to be a whole bunch of boys there with you. So we're definitely hitting this kind of odd sort of stage where it's sort of like, I've got to trust her to make good decisions. And, like, are you the people you're hanging around with? Are those good people? Like, I don't want you to hang out with them just because they are kids that are well liked or whatever. Like, are you making good choices about who you're being with? So it's definitely an odd experience for me that I haven't had to. You have older kids, so I'm sure you've dealt with a little bit of that freedom versus kind of giving them their space and their independence to go do things, and how that can be a little bit uncomfortable. But
it's tough anyway.
Yeah.
Like I've had. It's interesting. Like I just recently had a conversation with Dominic, just kind of like, hey, have you done this? Has anybody offered you this? Like those types of conversations, and just to hear his responses and like talk to him outside of those settings about peer pressure, and not like saying, hey, peer pressure is a bad thing, but just kind of getting getting a read on like how he feels about it, like learning his personality, because I think you talk about friends and stuff, and the circles of friends that widen, and like who I hear about people that he knows, but I don't know everybody that he knows. Like, I was in school, like my parents didn't know half the people I interacted with. But I also know that I wasn't one who was trying to find a clique or anything like that. I wasn't trying to fit in anywhere. I just kind of, I know you, I know you, I know you, and if I don't want to do something, I'm not going to do something. But not all kids are like that. Like some kids are looking for attachment but trying to know who my kids are, to be like, all right, how much do I have to like? You don't have to attach to these people you don't want to. That's
and it's definitely different. Like we are leaving that stage where you do know most of your kids' friends. Like I feel like there's, because they do play dates and they have to have parents there, and so a lot of them are kids in the neighborhood that she's grown up with, or that sort of thing. But so now it's like, I don't know these kids that you're hanging out with all of a sudden, and so that definitely feels a little bit different. But Maddie's also a kid that has a really, I think, good moral compass. She tends to be a little bit anxious about things and doing the right thing. So like I do definitely trust her. I trust her completely, but it's just different stage. So
yeah. How do you feel about that? Like, do you have kids in the neighborhood and stuff that your kids used to hang out with but don't anymore, and it's kind of like,
not yet. So we don't have a ton of kids in our neighborhood, but like she definitely, I don't know. I would say not yet. We haven't quite hit that. So like we have like friends of ours who do live in our neighborhood, and so Maddie still walks to school with their daughter. They hang out, they see each other a lot outside of school, but I think that's one of the ones where it's like, she's not necessarily, I don't know.
Are they the same age or?
They're the same age.
Yeah, we've got, so the boys grew up here, and they've got their neighbor here who's a few years older, and then a neighbor down the street who's actually, he's Dominic's age. I think they're in the same grade. But it's interesting to have seen them all kind of grow up, and like this neighbor he's a sports guy, and he's a little bit older and stuff now, and see that like separation go through. Like Riley used to hang out with him a lot more, and like their little crew,
but their interests are, they're different people. So I see that a little bit. Like, so the girl that's in our neighborhood, she's really into scouts now that there's like girls it's not Boy Scouts, it's just scouts. And so she's really into scouts, and she does that a lot. She's into rock climbing. She's, got a lot of those kind of these different interests. And Maddie's more like, she's playing soccer, but that's a new thing. Her thing is like, she really likes fashion. And so like, they definitely have these different interests. And so you could see them kind of branching, but at the same time, when they're together, they're still friendly and get along and hang out and stuff. So, but I do expect as we go into high school, that's when some of those shifts. Well, and that's what I've told Maddie all along. Like, the friends that you're friends with in middle school, there's a good chance that by the time you're done high school, you're hanging out with a totally different crowd of people. Like I certainly didn't hang out with the same people in middle school that I hung out with in high school. And then I also tell her, the day you graduate high school, none of it matters. It's amazing how quickly all of that
clean
stuff.
slate.
Yeah, and nobody. Everybody, like, you go to college and everybody thinks everybody's great. And
yeah, and then you get people who you've never talked to in high school.
Right.
They're like, "Hey, Andre, how you doing?" I don't think we've ever had a conversation.
So that's my big thing is, like, I wish somebody had told me back then, like, honestly, high school doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It does while you're in it. It feels like it is a big deal, but
it's such a short span of time too.
Yeah.
It feels like so long when you're in there, but once you're out, you're like, "Oh, that was quick." Yeah. So is it Rowan then that's doing the rock climbing?
She is doing the rock climbing. Yep. She's in 4th grade. She's doing rock climbing. She just started again.
Have you and Andrea done that at all? Or?
Rock climbed ourselves?
Yeah.
I have not. So the one time that Andrea and I went rock climbing was back when she thinks we were dating. I do not think we were dating. And so it was funny for a few reasons. So my ex-girlfriend from high school and beginning college, Audrey, was living in, I think, at home. I think I'd just gotten out of school. And so it was like the end of that. I took 1 year off and was an ed tech. That's how I met Andrea.
Yeah.
And so Andrea and I didn't start dating until late that spring, that school year. And but I would hang out sometimes with Audrey and stuff. And so I was going rock climbing with Audrey at the rock gym, and so I invited Andrea along, not thinking like, "Oh, we're dating. This is a date." It was just sort of like, "Hey, I'm going to the rock gym. Do you want to come?" She thought it was a date. She claims that we had started spending time together prior to that.
Mm-hmm.
I think she has her dates mixed up, but she's probably honestly, a better source of knowledge. So anyway, we went. So Andrea reminds me of that all the time, of how I brought my ex-girlfriend on a date for us, like one of our first dates. But the other thing that happened was I was climbing and Andrea was belaying me. And I love Andrea, but she's not like a detail-oriented person.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was belaying me, but I don't think she was bringing in any of the slack. And so I was probably a good 15 feet up on the wall and fell off. Oh. And I just went boom, right down to the ground, landed flat on my feet. Oh. And thank God, like, I just kind of like cushioned the blow and I rolled or something. Right. And so I didn't get hurt at all. But like, if I had landed wrong, I easily could have, done some serious damage or something. And so I was like, and we're never rock climbing together again. And we have not gone since. But
that belay thing reminds me when Sasha,
you did Outward Bound, right?
Yeah, I did like a freshman orientation thing in Acadia, and it was rock climbing.
Yeah.
And she was belaying me on the side of this cliff in Acadia. And I just was so scared because I'm like, I don't know if I trust her.
I don't know this person.
I don't know her very well. She's not a very big person at all. Like, I weigh a lot more than her, I think.
Yeah.
And like, she's nice, but she's not somebody who I had a lot of faith in. In that, but that's scary.
Yeah,
that's one of the scary parts about rock climbing, that trust in the other person.
I really liked. I like it when I've done it, and I really liked climbing, like real rock climbing outside. Mm-hmm. I think is much more fun than going to like a rock gym or something. But my issue was that I have no upper body strength, and I was also my strength to weight ratio was probably worse then than it is now, because I weighed significantly more. So now I actually might be better at it than I was back then. But
maybe we should go out do some outside rock climbing and stuff, like bouldering in the areas.
Yeah. You just talk earlier about not doing things that have a good chance of you getting hurt.
This is true. Like small boulders.
The payoff for that just doesn't seem.
What if we go down to Target where they got the little, just hang out on that little wall? Quarter wall. Yeah. All right. So it's about an hour in. You want to wrap it?
Yeah, that's probably good. I got told my wife would be home for dinner when she said she didn't like Sundays. Part of it was like family. We have dinner. I'm like, okay,
understandable. Well, I shot for 2, but you had to watch your Patriots. So.
Yeah. Okay. So we can wrap for today.
All right. Good show.
Yeah.
Bye. think hey, this is the best ending yet.